Hello and welcome to this lecture, and in this lecture we'll draw our pig. So in previous lecture we have defined a bunch of a code in order to just draw the bird and remove this bird and a pigs. Now we are left with this drawing and pig and drawing the column and beam and some of these minor details to work on with. So firstly, we'll just say this initializer should be 0, that is I should be 0. And for pig, that is pig in pigs, that is our list which we created at the beginning of our lecture, that was initially as empty. And when you just use that in the event handling, that is basically when you use, in this case that was maybe in the, when you just check for here, that was in this case of bird, and when you similarly use in this case basically, so to remove basically, and you just add that to the pig. So we'll just draw that pig now. So in that list we have now a bunch of pig, and so we'll just iterate through that pigs, and we'll say pig should have now pig dot shape. So just give me shape of this pig. So why this shape is needed, because we want to get the position, that is y position of a shape, and we'll just split now according to the rotation or according to the degree basically. So let's do that first. So let me say if pig, that is body, now let's get the body here, and pick that body dot position, and we just need the y position, like that was same as the case we have in this bird. So we'll say that give me just a y position here, and if y position is 0, that means why the y position is needed, because it should not just go basically in sync, basically it should not sink down the background, so it should not go beyond the surface. So that is the case when we checking this position. So if it is less than 0, then what it should do is pigs to remove, just append there a pig. And what you're gonna do next is we'll just see if p can be converted to this pygame coordinate, that is just give the position, and here the position would be inside this body and position. So this is our position, and it should be coordinated now, or vector coordinate, because we have called this pygame to pygame function that we created earlier so as to convert. So let me quickly show you where that was. So basically that was created here. In this case we have defined to pygame, and it is the basically any standard formula so as to convert to this pygame coordinates. So let's go back to here, and gonna do next is we'll just, after we get this coordinate, we'll just extract x and y position from that vector, and we'll just use in order to rotate. So this for the pygame has a basically our method in order to rotate or transform the images, but in the case of PyMonk it only works with the physics, so we don't have any transformation there, so we have to convert to pygame. So for that we'll say that just get me a degree that will be called from this math.degree, and we'll just get a degree that is pig dot body dot angle, that is the angle of our pig body, and after that we'll say image, that is to be rotated, and pygame, and you know how to rotate, you should first call this transform from the pygame module and just rotate. So give the surface to rotate first, so surface will be obviously this pig image, and angle, so what should be angle, so angle degree, so this the angle degree to be rotated with. So after we have rotated, we'll just get the WH, that is the image size, width and height, and just get size. So we'll just say get size of the image and just store it in width and height. So after that what we're gonna do is we'll just increase first, that is just we have to basically multiply with this 0.5 in order to scale that image, and that is basically pig image. And similarly we'll just scale that y coordinates to by just multiplying height by 0.5. so this is scaling, but we have a negative scaling here. So after that, what we're gonna do is we'll just bleed and screen.bleed, and what is gonna be bleeding here is image, obviously, and where you want to bleed, that would be in the X and Y position. And after that, just draw the circle. So in the case of the bird 2, we have drawn here a circle that was blue in order to just give that the outside circle to that bird. So basically what is it is all about. So you have a bird here, so let me show you within bird. So let's go to this red bird. So where is the red bird here? So this is our red bird. So this will be our bird, and there will be slightly just a blue color here outside this bird. If you just hit, basically if you just hit this bird or just you project this bird, so that means just we'll just draw similar to that a bird. We'll also draw for that pig. So we'll say draw circle for me, and just give the surface where it should be drawn, obviously in the screen. And obviously it will also have this blue color, is that of similar of bird. And I'll say now position would be P here, that we extracted basically from this position, pig position. And after that, we'll just have this integer pig dot radius in order to create the circle of radius here. So that should be pig here. And now the next thing will be here width, basically. So width is initial, that is 0, which is basically a default, but we'll pass as 2 here. That should be width. So we have very few things to do now, that is dealing with the columns and beams, and after we'll just update the physics and we'll just run our game. So see you in the next.